On this week's show, Prince Albert II travelled to Washington where he received an award for his environmental commitment. Formula One was the big event last weekend. One of the drivers, Nico Rosberg, was welcomed at the palace by Prince Albert II. And the athletes in the Special Olympics went to meet ASMFC at their training ground. They are the equivalent of the Oscars for preservation of the marine environment. The Peter Benchley Awards were handed out in Washington, and this year Prince Albert II was amongst the winners. The late Peter Benchley is the author of a successful book, which was then made into a film that has become an icon for whole generations, Jaws. He very quickly regretted both the literary and cinematographic success, as he was passionate about sharks for his whole life, and he involuntarily gave them a very bad name. 8 years after his death, his wife Wendy pays tribute to his memory by organising these awards every year that put the focus on international figures who contribute to the safekeeping of the seas and oceans, as well as all the species that live in them.
In
the United States, the Peter Benchley Awards are the equivalent of the Academy Awards for cinema. Of course, they are the high point of the Blue Vision Summit, which is also an interesting meeting place as it brings together politicians, legislators, activists and NGOs. 7 categories in all highlight the work of researchers and the commitment of personalities from all fields that protect the oceans. This year, Prince Albert II received an award. The head of state, who believes strongly in this scientific field, was recognised for his important contribution over several years. I wish that every head of state was like Prince Albert, who, in my opinion, is the greatest advocate for the sea amongst all of the world's leaders. The winners of the Peter Benchley Awards are all from very different worlds. Politics for Prince Albert II and John Kerry, or economics for Madison Stewart, who is also known as Pip. She is the youngest winner of the prize at only 21 and is part of the growing generation of new underwater explorers. During this visit to the United States, Prince Albert II also took part in the board meeting of the Pristine Seas project, launched by Dr. Eric Saller and National Geographic. The idea is to preserve some wild areas whilst at the same time protecting marine areas that are already suffering from the impact of human pollution. The Prince Albert II of Monaco Foundation very quickly announced its wish to be part of Pristine Seas. This is fantastic support for the explorers and scientists who need spokespeople for their cause in the political arena. The Pristine Seas project concentrates on 10 marine zones from Gabon to the Seychelles and many unknown small archipelagos in the Pacific. Prince Albert II welcomed Nico Rosberg to the princely palace for an informal chat just before the start of this year's Monaco Formula One Grand Prix. It's a very special moment for me because I have a fantastic car. We have the best car in F1, and Monaco, well, they are my streets. Nobody knows them as well as I do. An enjoyable meeting that maybe gave the soon-to-be father the extra motivation he needed to go on and win, for a third consecutive year, the Monaco Grand Prix. As part of the Grand Prix events, a charity bicycle ride was organised in memory of Sean Edwards, a young driver who died 2 years ago in Australia whilst helping a student. This Monegasque resident was also a member of the Monaco Automobile Club. His friends have decided to pay regular tribute to him, and last week they completed one lap of the Monaco Formula One circuit before heading off to Italy. Another bicycle ride will be organised during the Dubai 24 Hours, a race that Edwards had won twice in the past. Some Special Olympics athletes were very lucky. Their trainers took them to participate in an ASMFC training session. Passes, photos and autographs were on the cards. Special Olympics Monaco is a sports organisation dedicated to people suffering from mental deficiencies. Created 35 years ago, it now counts more or less 100 athletes who regularly take part in competitions around the world. During next July and August, 50 of them will head to Los Angeles to take part in the Special Olympics World Summer Games, along with 7,000 other athletes. Time to go. See you next week.